Welcome. My name is Mel Lehman. I'm the director of Common Humanity, and Common Humanity is a peacemaking organization which helps to build understanding between people here in the US, where I am, and people in the Middle East, where our distinguished guest, Ahmed Hmeedat, is from. We'll get to meet him in a moment. We believe that art is one way of building connections. Here behind me, we see a Amish quilt from my American background. And then beside that, we see some Iraqi art. The yellow painting is Iraqi artist, as is the red and beautiful, colorful art there. And then we also have a painting there from Gaza. And if we have time, the key is from Gaza. But we'll see if we have time for that. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about our guest and welcome Ahmed. Ahmed Hmeedat is a Palestinian artist and the founder of the Palestinian Artists Consortium website. Ahmed holds a BA, Bachelor in Arts degree in International Law from Al-Quds Bard College in East Jerusalem, the only liberal arts college in the Middle East, a Master of Law from Syracuse University College of Law in upstate New York, and he has a rich experience working in the immigration law field, business and humanitarian immigration, and nonprofit organizations in the United States. He contributed to establishing the first Palestinian museum in Washington, D.C., the Museum of the Palestinian People, and we discovered that the founder and director of the Palestinian Museum went to the same college where I went. So we already have a connection with our guest. The opening co-exhibit, Reimagining a Future in Palestine, features some of Ahmed's artwork. Ahmed is a self-taught artist who experiments with a variety of media, including watercolors, acrylic, oil, ink, charcoal, and digital. His recent work, Searching for the Blue, has been featured in Symposium magazine and the New Observations magazine in the United States. Welcome, Ahmed. Glad to have you. When we spoke on the phone a minute ago, you mentioned just in passing that you were speaking to us from Bethlehem. Bethlehem in Palestine, a very special spot in my heart, and I believe some of our visitors as well.
Thank you. Would like first of all to thank you for hosting me on this series of interviews that you are conducting for the Common Humanity organization. I'm glad to be among the artists that you have hosted so far, and I'm very also happy for this new opportunity of collaboration between the consortium and the Common Humanity. Yes, I'm joining from Bethlehem, from a refugee camp near the city of Bethlehem, actually within the city borders. It's called the Hesh refugee camp. I was raised and born in the city and in the camp, and I'm still living here. After I finished my high school, my college, I traveled to the States where I did my master's studies, and then I did somewhat like acquired some professional experience working in Washington, D.C., in the metro area, Washington, D.C. metro area. And it was for me a great opportunity to interact with the art scene and to meet great people who inspired me to continue doing what I was doing in Palestine. Because, you know, there's many artists, what they face is the challenge of sustaining themselves after starting their practicing art. They find that it's not easy to continue and to expand the artwork, and the best way is to some of them is to find an alternative job and to keep creating art on the side. This was one of my challenge, one of the challenges that I faced, and still working on, keep producing the art. But at the beginning of my journey, I started creating art when I was in high school. I was interacting with artists who been to Syria and learned art from Damascus Art University over there, and went back to Palestine. So I learned a big deal from this artist. And then I took it on myself to continue learning and taking courses where I was studying at Al-Quds Bard College in Abu Dis campus, the main campus which is very close from the city of Jerusalem. It's like on the eastern side of the city. On that campus, there is an art school, art college indeed, which I used to go and made friends with some of the professors over there. And they invited me to attend the classes, despite that I wasn't a student. But they welcomed me, and allowed me to sit and to sketch and to experiment with different mediums. And to be honest, this was one of the things that encouraged me being on the academic, field in terms of art, has boosted my passion and my interest to continue. And yeah.
Jerusalem would have great art galleries that you could attend and see the art there, I'm sure.
To be honest, there were none art galleries on campus, and I wasn't inside the city of Jerusalem. I said it's hard to explain the geography here. It's a bit complicated because there is a separation wall, and we were outside of the walls. So basically, we are within the borders of the city of Jerusalem, but it's on the Palestinian side of the West Bank. So that part of that area, there were none galleries, and basically there was only the college, the art college, where you could interact and see paintings and see artists. Yeah.
So we've heard about
I'm
this.
happy if you allow me access to share.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I have prepared this presentation to share with the audience of the common humanity. I know that we are recording this session, which would be shared also later with a lot of the audience of the common humanity and the consortium as well. But I would like to say that at the beginning of my art career, I was experimenting with many materials, with many topics, and I really find for a short period of time passion in doing murals. And I started creating murals on the walls of the camp, commemorating, activists, Palestinian poets and politicians who have been contributing, who had contributed so much to the Palestinian cause. So I draw murals for Mahmoud Darwish, murals for Abu Ali Mustafa, and for example, other Palestinian figures who contributed to the cause. And that was part of teaching the public and raising the awareness among the public about these figures. And later on, I started doing murals for earning, some money on the side. And that was beside my study in the college. So this is here one of the murals that I created at one of the hotels in Bethlehem. It's called Jaffa Oranges. Basically commemorating a scene in Jaffa where Palestinians were actively involved in the trade of oranges and the agriculture of orange. And this is like a sort of monochromic piece where I was really happy working on and creating. So the piece is still actually at the hotel. Unfortunately, the hotel is not operating anymore due to the current situation in Bethlehem and in the West Bank in general, due to the ongoing war. But yeah, this was one of the murals I have created. There were many murals I worked on, but this is what I like to share here with the audience, because I believe this is one of the murals that close to my heart, especially that it was very interesting to people from Italy and from Slovenia, exactly from Slovenia. I had a journalist who came and wrote an article about this mural because she was investigating the relationships between Slovenia and Palestine in terms of trade and trading oranges. And this was part of one of the images that has been later exhibited at a museum later on in Slovenia. Not the mural itself, but the photo of the mural. Later on, after my experiment with the murals and paintings. I started also creating an artwork for institutions in the US. This is like a painting. It's sort of like a big size painting of a scene in Bethlehem where we can see the Israeli separation wall, the cracked, and there is the light of the sun is coming through, and you can see the churches, the mosques, and the Palestinian houses in the background. My this basically the vision of this painting has evolved after I experiment with something with a painting similar to this, where I try to apply a lot of contrasts between the figures, the shapes, and the colors, the tones, in order to create sort of aesthetics, but at the same time deep meaning and representation to the political situation in Palestine. Uh, this painting actually is right now exhibited at the Ravensworth Baptist Church in Annandale, Virginia, in the US. And it's part of 5 paintings. Indeed, I'm not sharing all of them here because most of them are around the same topic, like imagining the future of Palestine, the future of Palestine, but with a biblical Christian touch to it, since this has to do with like church. And this work for me was really interesting because I try to represent Palestine through this lens that mix politics, religion, landscape, and it wasn't like an easy task for me, but I was excited to undergo this experience.
Yeah, I think
Um,
this is a very successful painting. I'm so glad that we're chatting with you because I think it shows something very important, learning something for Americans about your part of the world. We see Christians and Muslims cooperating
mhm,
in Bethlehem, and that dove of peace, which is such a powerful symbol,
mhm.
right there in front of us. What a great painting! Thank you.
Thank you. Um, uh, Speaking briefly about the process of this painting and the other painting, this one, basically, this is like my style. I start with a sketch. I know other paintings, colleagues of mine who start directly on canvas, but since I'm coming from a little bit of let's say like academic backgrounds. Usually, you create your outline before you submit the paper. So
Right.
I tend to create like a sketch and another sketch and get feedback because I believe in it deeply in the freedom of the artist, but sometimes I like to get some feedbacks because some of my friends, some of the people who I care about and care about me, they give me like a very helpful feedback that my eyes sometimes don't catch, and I like to do that. I think it's a very helpful process to create art. Because at the end of the day, the art is going to exhibited or shared with people. I like to give art to people sometimes as gifts and or like giving that art for them, that painting to them, because I like to see this painting is also at their house or at their office. This makes me also feel good that this painting is in safe hands and in the right place with the right people. And this also applies to this painting, which is also at the same place at the Ravensworth Baptist Church. This painting actually has a story because when I was in the US, I created another version of this painting after developing different sketches. But there was an American judge, sorry, a prosecutor, who was nominated to work at the Nuremberg trial in Germany, and I met his granddaughter, who told me the story of her grandfather, who was involved in that era where he was part of the legal team who were trying to bring justice to the victims. And I thought, why not in Palestine we could imagine a future where prosecutors who committed atrocities and violations are put on the same similar trial and held accountable for their crimes. So this is me imagining the scene in Palestine, the future. In the background, we see like the city of Jerusalem, and the sunlight is coming through, and we cannot see the faces of the victims because even the guy who committed the crimes is we cannot see his face. And this air in this scene, I'm imagining an Israeli soldiers who was involved in the crimes in Palestine, war crimes, but the victims are a lot and the faces are a lot. So I made all of the portraits without like features and details, just to make it a general, representation.
So this really
Um,
combines two parts
yeah,
of your life, the artist part of your life and the lawyer part of your life.
maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'm also like during my studies in the States, I visited some courts and I was inspired by how courts functions in the States. They function on high, advanced level, and I wish to see this also reflected sometime in Palestine in terms of how the legal system is applied and legal cases are processed. Uh, and this is another work I have created recently. Basically, a friend of mine from Italy. He's uh, he's a comrade, socialist who was involved in a lot of activism around the globe, from Chile to Italy to Brazil and to Palestine. He has been, participating in many grassroots organizations, demonstrations, and I had the pleasure and the honor to meet him this winter. Despite the ongoing war that was happening here in Palestine and the high scrutiny on people coming in and out, Jeremy decided to visit Palestine and to come and visit me in Bethlehem and he spent 2 weeks here, where he worked with children from my refugee camp on creating art and collected that art for an exhibit in Italy. And he's right now doing a touring exhibit in Italy about that artwork that he collected from the children here. And his goal is to raise awareness about the political situation in Palestine. In this work, I created this portrait by the medium of cyanotype print. Basically, is in this medium is about applying chemicals to paper or canvas and let that liquid dry, and after it dries you create like a negative photo on a film and expose them. Then you put the negative photo over the canvas and you expose them to the sun rays, and within a few minutes you will have a printed photo by blue. And I have a big passion to the blue. I use blue a lot. Like the different tones of the blue colors in my palette is always there. And I use it in many paintings, in many portraits. I even created like a series of portraits by only using the color blue. And this portrait is I'm depicting this man who really was inspiring for me because he wanted to be in Palestine in the time where people were leaving Palestine, and he wanted to show solidarity. And I had him pose for me, and I took this photo, and later on I turned it and I processed it to be a cyanotype print. I have created different versions of this, but I'm still developing this process, and this is basically what I'm experimenting with these days. Uh, this is also another mural in the camp that I organized. Uh, the basically this is a neighborhood in the camp, which is somehow It looks like, you know, random places and random houses next to each other, jammed to each other. But this is the reality of Palestinian camps. They are scattered. When people lived in the camp, they didn't have like a urban plan how to build their houses. They were like placed in tents by the United Nations. And later on, people started to be independent and resilient and build their own houses. This mural was part of an initiative I had in the camp with children to have them paint. And we draw the figure of Handala. Basically, the figure of Handala is this young boy who's giving us his back and we cannot see his face. Is a representation, he's a representation of Palestinian refugees. We see him like barefoot with like heads that looks like cactus. Let's say like it has this small, I don't know if you can see like
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
flowers. And he's opening, you know, the like the wall or the gate to show the city of Jerusalem, because Bethlehem is surrounded by a wall, and people of Bethlehem, the kids of Bethlehem, they cannot see the city of Jerusalem. And he's like a superhero figure here. And I draw this like in 2000, I believe, 4 to 15. And the kids had the chance to paint the houses and to participate in this quick mural. But the reason I'm sharing this because 2 days ago I received like a link about this mural that has been featured by the New York Times in an article. If you allow me to share the article, it has you know featured this. Do you see my screen?
Not quite. We're seeing Google.
Oh,
Oh, okay, we're seeing your Google screen. Okay.
sorry, I not this one. Don't know why I'm getting here. Okay. Mhm. I don't know what happened. I lost the link. Um, anyway, I'm happy to share the link later, but
Yeah, we'll post that with when we post this. We'll post
yeah,
this several
okay,
places
you
on the
will
web.
post
Yeah.
it, yes. But yeah,
If I could jump,
basically, this is yeah an article that came out yesterday. Sorry, you were saying something?
yeah, if I could just jump in 1 second. So this is where you live. You live in this refugee camp near
Yeah.
near Jerusalem beside the separation wall, and you can't go into Jerusalem. The
Yeah, yeah.
authorities do not allow you to go those few
Basically,
kilometers.
this place is like let's say 20 minutes from Jerusalem.
Right. And you cannot go to Jerusalem because
No,
you're
I
not
can't
allowed to. Right.
because yeah, I'm not an Israeli.
Right. And one other point, and I'm so eager to see your art, but just one other quick point is that you're in a refugee camp because your grandfather, your grandparents were forced out by the Nakba in 1948, and they had to flee their homes. Am I correct in that basic understanding of what
Uh,
brought you to the refugee?
my story in the camp is a bit different. We are living in the camp because I'm not a personally like not a like a refugee who was expelled in 1948. But my parents happened to be living in the camp because it's like close to the city and it's more like it was more like affording their you know style of living. But no, I'm not originally refugee from 1948. No, neither my parents.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, what interested me about this because it was shared by the New York Times and highlighted, you know, the figure of Handala because it was a figure that has been used at the Columbia University when the students were protesting on campus, and they used this figure on many signs, on many boards.
Hmm.
And that article was highlighting. Unfortunately, I couldn't share the article, but I will send you the link later.
Oh, congratulations on that. It's an honor. Yeah.
Um, uh, this is another piece that actually I was happy to work on and create recently. Uh, the idea started with me when I was in college, when I was reading the work of Kafka, and I got interested by his work, so I had to expand and read more of his work. And I ended up creating a series of pieces, and this is one of them. Is basically it's called Kafka in Palestine. This is the portrait of Kafka, and underneath his nose, you can see the Israeli separation wall and a Palestinian residential area flipped upside down, and the trees are upside down, the house is upside down. Basically, to represent that the situation in Palestine is a Kafkaesque situation. And if you read any of the work of Kafka, uh, either like in the Panel Colony or Before the Law, or Jekylls and Arabs, you will find that what's going on is a Kafkaesque situation. A lot of these things that he's like allegories, let's say, or metaphors that he's using represent basically what's going on here. Like Before the Law, basically a lot of things that you try to do in Palestine, they get stuck in a pending system, and you try to figure out why your case or why your appeal is not moving forward, and nobody's providing you with a reason. The Israeli authority might be, using this technique to keep people, in the pending system, especially with the prisoners, with a lot of cases for people who are trying to get like permits to build houses or purchase houses inside Jerusalem. This is also happens to them. Um, Jekylls and Arabs basically also a very vague story, let's say, but it has a lot of allegories that represent the reality between Palestinians and Israelis. And I find this work is very representing to what Kafka has been trying to convey through his work. So uh, I
Yeah.
have been, creating serious like copies of this work, and it has been, exhibited in different places. I had an exhibit of this painting at Alexandria Town House in Virginia,
Mhm.
and it really had some good feedback from people and visitors.
Yeah, very powerful, very powerful. Yeah.
Thank you, Mel. Regarding what's now, what I'm doing right now, Mel, you know that how Mel and I met, we met through like a webinar about the consortium, basically a website that I started recently. And the consortium is a platform for the Palestinian artists. I felt the need and the urgency to create a platform that provide Palestinian artists and empower them with the tools to represent themselves professionally in the art field, plus to try to sell their artwork and provide a living for themselves and for their families. And this initiative, there was nothing before. Until now, there is no platform in Palestine that provide this type of services. So this is a virtual platform for Palestinian artists to get out there, put their work, and sell it online, and use the link to incorporate that link in their CVs, in their applications for schools, for art residencies. There is no need for Palestinian artists to create their own website. This platform is providing them with this for free. And this is my initiative to help them overcome the restrictions that artists face in Palestine, in light of the absence of an active syndicate, an artist syndicate. I'm not here, with this website, not to replace the work of the artist syndicate or the artist union, but to provide an alternative for artists to experiment with and to try. Um, if an artist would like to create a website, that would take him time, would take him like resources, and he needs or she needs the knowledge to do that. But this consortium, basically this platform is available for free for artists to use and utilize. I'm still at the early stages of this project, but it's growing, steady and consistently. And I hope to have more artists by the end of the year on this platform. I could share if you do see the page of the website.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great.
So
And how
basically,
will they? Mhm.
yeah, yeah, it's basically a simple website, but the nice thing that we have a gallery, and basically people could scroll down and see the artists that we have and see their, collections, and experience, see their artwork. And if they like a piece, they could purchase it. And here we have the list of the artists. So far, we have 7 artists. And my goal by the end of the year is to have 20 artists on this platform. And mostly, I don't have like a very restricted criteria to recruit artists, but we welcome artists who are, happy to be with us, who interested to keep producing art on a regular basis, and to empower them by this community, this collective of artists, because we work together, like we share our works. Since we started this consortium, we share our work together. We try to be supportive to each other. If there is an opportunity, we share it. We have like a group of on the WhatsApp, and we have like we are connected also on the mail. We don't meet usually in person, but the group of the Palestinian artists that who are right now, we are acting as a group, and we are there to support each other.
Well, this is
Um,
really, really
yeah,
great. Really great. I feel like I've made a real discovery. This is something really wonderful we can explore. And I look forward to more conversations with you. And how would let's we're pushing towards the end of our half hour. We try to have half hour interviews for people's busy schedules. But let's take a few more minutes. This is so wonderful. How will people get in touch with you? What is the website address there?
sure. People or artists, they could get in touch with me through, like, if you go to the website towards the bottom of the page, there is like the newsletter. Also, people could like contact us. If they hit like contact us, they could write us an email, and my colleagues and I will receive this email, and we will reply within like in a timely fashion. Also, we have like the WhatsApp and other like tools like the Instagram. They could also follow us on Instagram and get in touch or ask us questions. Uh, so what I would like to say that uh, this project is like the thing that I have been working on recently. I consider it an artwork in the modern, meaning of the term. But I'm really passionate about it, and I believe there is a need, an urgent need, to have
Absolutely,
this
absolutely.
platform in Palestine and to help the artists to grow. And it's a win-win situation in terms of like helping them sell their artwork. They help us to grow as a community.
Yeah. Oh, this is really great. This is really great. I'm so happy and pleased with this, and I look forward to continuing our discussion. Let's see if there's any questions before we wrap things up. Carla, thank you for your interview, and thank you for that note, Carla. And Jason referred to an earlier work of your friend, the activist. Jason wrote fantastic work. Susan writes, I admire your art and your hopeful and bold message. Thank you for creative ways to let Palestinian artists share their visions too. And again, all together, the website is artist-consortium.com, right? Type that
Yeah.
in,
Yes, I will type it.
artists, right there at the top, artists-consortium.com. Of course, we'll put that on our website when we post this. Um, and Jason writes, what a brilliant idea. Susan writes, praying that your mission can keep passing over the walls. Wonderful, wonderful comments. It's such a good spirit. Um, Anything you'd like to say in closing? We sometimes we ask people
Uh,
what we can do for peace. Go to your website. There's something people can do for peace. Is to go to your website and take a look at this beautiful art.
Thank you.
Any other suggestions for what we Americans, this will help us see the reality of the humanity of people in your part
This
of the
question
world.
for me or for the audience?
Uh,
Are you
Either way, yeah.
uh, yeah, we are, as I said, I'm committed to keep creating art. I have my own studio right now, and I work on some pieces. This is like what I plan also for this year, to create more pieces of the cyanotype prints and other like pieces for exhibits in the States. Um, but it would be very helpful if you share, the word about this consortium. My goal is also to expand in the US, because most of the people who support us, they are, people from the States who have bought like art pieces. We were very successful in selling like at least two art pieces for each artist on the consortium, and helping, when when one of the artists sell a piece, this is an encouragement to, for him or for her to keep working and producing. In the time where diplomacy and politics is failing, and even the humanitarian law, international law is failing to stop the genocide in Palestine, I believe art is a very powerful tool to connect people and to share stories and to build bridges.
Amen. My philosophy, exactly. That's what we do at Common Humanity for the last 15 or 20 years. And I'm so happy to meet you with a very similar heart and a very similar philosophy.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
man.
so
I'm
much.
happy as well. Thank you so much.
And just to conclude, my website, Common Humanity website, is commonhumanity.org. And you'll see there some of the artists we work with in the Middle East. You'll also see a place to contribute. We need funding to keep our work going here at Common Humanity, to pay for the computer I'm using. I think we probably need a new computer at this point to pay for our expenses. We're nonprofit, volunteer, but we do need some funds to keep us going, as does Ahmed. So keep us both in mind. We both could use your help.
Well,
Thank you.
there is also like two questions in the
Ah,
Q&A. Yeah,
yeah,
Q&A.
very good. You want to take those? Yeah, go ahead.
Kiara Rob, uh, will you come back to the US? Okay, are you supporting the protests? Are you referring to the protests on campuses? Yes, I do support the protests on campuses. I believe students have been there have been like a lot of Palestinian solidarity groups on campuses, and this is growing due to the ongoing genocide in Gaza. I'm planning also to return to visit the US at some point. I'm not sure when, but the US is a very close place to my heart, and I lived there 5 years, and I have like great memories. Definitely, I consider myself half American, half Palestinian. There is a saying in DC: if you live in DC 5 years, you become a Washingtonian. So I guess I'm a Washingtonian. Susan Miller is saying, "Are you in a physical danger in the horrible war against Gaza?" No, I'm in danger, but not in a very severe danger, because I live in Bethlehem. It's sort of like quiet city, but in my commute to work every day, I pass Israeli checkpoint, and it's a very risky place to pass through. Mel, how this question is for you, Mel. Sorry, the last
Okay.
one by Susan.
Thank you. I think we need to wrap things up. Thank you for our audience. Thank you, Ahmed, so much. And again, one more time, your website is
www.artists-consortium.com.
very good. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you to our audience. We'll be back before long with more interviews. Come and visit us at commonhumanity.org. Thank you so much, Ahmed. Great to be with you. Look forward to
Thank you
seeing you
so
again.
much, and thank you for people who joined us from Germany and the US and other places.
Yeah. Okay.